on everybody, today I am going to be reviewing the game Bermuda Triangle. Yeah, big box. This game was created in 1975 and it's for 2 to 4 players, ages 8 to adult. Now I actually just picked this game up today and this has to be one of the most unique games I've seen. It's pretty simple to learn, but it has like some strategy and also some unknown variables to it. Ultimately, your goal in this game is to try to collect $350,000 by moving different goods to different ports. But you have a couple of things going against you. Number one, you have your opponent, and number two, you have the Bermuda Triangle. La 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 la. Well, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to play this cool game. Now, the first thing I'm going to talk about are these ships here. I've got this game set up for 2 players, and there's a ship in each of these ports. There's a lumber port, a sugar port, a bananas port, and an oil port. Basically what's going to happen is you're going to try to move these ships to each different port, and when you do, you're going to collect one of these cards right here. Sugar for this, and etc. Now, I'm going to go over the movement first, and then I'm going to go over the hurricane. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to roll the dice, and you're going to choose which ship you're going to want to move. So then you'll move, say, this guy 1, 2. Your opponent will roll, and he'll roll the 1, so he'll move this one. Now, let's say my opponent rolled a 2. Anytime an opponent lands directly on your ship, similar to Parcheesi, it is going to knock you back to this port right here. Another thing to note is that you can only have 2 of your ships in each of these ports. So you can only have, like, I could have 2 red ships here. And a strategy for when there's more players is to try to keep all these ports covered so that your opponent can't get there. So if there's, like, say 4 ships here, your opponent's not going to be able to get there until somebody moves out of the way. Now right here is what's called the home port bonus. This is in this spot where the sugar is. If you get to this spot, you're going to pick up this card, which is going to add to your earnings. Now the big part of this game is this. This is the Bermuda Triangle / hurricane. This thing, first of all, is always going to be pointed north. There's a little arrow right here. And when you start this game, it's going to start on the A. So the arrow will always be pointing north. What you're going to do is after each person has gone around once, or has taken a turn, you're going to spin this spinner right here. And I'll just show you what it is right here. This is going to determine how the hurricane is going to turn and move and where it's going to move. So for example, if I were to spin it here where it says B4W, that means I'm going to spin this first to the B, which is going to put it here. Then I'm going to move it 4 spaces west, which means I'm going to move it this way. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to follow these dots over here. Now what's going to happen during the course of the game is that this cloud is going to pass over these ships. It very well hit the side of the ship and move it. It can also get placed underneath the ship, or I'm sorry, underneath the hurricane like so. Now as you can see, there's magnets on top of each of these ships. And on this thing, there's a magnet here and a magnet here. If the hurricane this part passes over the ship, it's going to end up picking it up like so, as you can see. If this happens, it's going to knock the ship out of the game. If you end up moving the spinner to where it says west on one of these things, it's going to move the hurricane all the way to the edge. So right here I have West C. So it's just basically where it is. It's going to move this thing all the way over here. And it can run into ships. It can pick up ships along the way. As you can see, it's covered up some of the ships. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that your ship is going to get captured if this cloud is under it, because the magnets are only in a couple of places here. So your ship very well may survive being underneath this thing. However, your ship can get knocked off course because of this middle thing and even because of this side thing. And the way the rules state, if that happens, say my ship gets knocked over here, my ship, after the cloud has covered, can come back to someplace on the board, will get moved to the nearest spot on the board like so. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a couple of turns here just to kind of give you guys a gist of how the game works. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and roll, and I roll 5. So I'm going to move my guy 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Alright, the yellow person it's his turn. I'm going to move him back here. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to go ahead and play this and knock my guy back to this port. Now comes time to figure out what's going to happen with the Bermuda Triangle. So I spin this thing, and it says H10 north. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first spin this H, and then I'm going to move this up north 10 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So no boats were harmed because it's all the way up there and there's no boats in the way. So play continues. So I roll a 3. I'm going to go ahead and move him 3. And this guy rolls a 6. So he'll roll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now once again, it's time to spin this thing. B7 north. Alright. So that means it's going to spin to the B here, and it's going to move north. Now it can't move past the edge over here. So when you get to the edge, you're just going to stop the hurricane over there. So again, it's okay. But let's say, for example, the hurricane was here. It was right here. And I had to spin it this way, and then move it, say, 4. So I would go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now, the ship, I heard the ship got captured, and I'll just show you real quick. It got captured. Now, the only time you can remove the ship here is if this thing gets sent back to the edge like this. When that happens, and this is the only time this happens, the hurricane, you'll lift this thing up and remove the ship out, and then you will place this back in the center like you would normally in the beginning of the game, with the arrow pointing up and with it being sent to the A. Where is it? Right there. Seems a little tricky. So anyway, that's kind of the gist of this game. You're just basically going to be trying to make $350,000. You can do less money if you would like. And another thing in the game is that if you are here and there's a hurricane right here, and say you roll a 6, you're only going to be able to move to that space. You can't go underneath on a move. There's a couple other little rules, but this is basically the gist of this game. I haven't tried playing it yet, but it looks really interesting, so I look forward to playing it. And if you find one, pick up a copy. Have a good day.